from this town of Torrington who gave their lives during the two world wars, and in particular two brothers, Captain Francis John George Walker and Major Hugh David Walker, Military Cross. Both men were to lose their lives far away from Devon in the jungles of Burma during the Second World War. They are commemorated here on this war memorial, but until now the fact that Major Walker was awarded the Military Cross for gallantry prior to his death was not recognised on this memorial. John and David Walker were two of the three sons born to Dr. Ernest Haynes Walker and his wife Dorothy Violet. They had a third son, Kenneth, who survived the war, and we are deeply honoured and privileged that he and his family are here today. The three boys were born in Kent, John in 1918, David 3 years later in 1921, and Ken in 1923. In 1937, Dr. Walker was appointed the Medical Officer of Health for Torrington Rural District Council, an honorary surgeon at Torrington Hospital. The family moved to Great Torrington and lived at Castle House at the bottom of Castle Street. You may be aware that the Plough Theatre was formerly the drill hall for D Company of the 6th Battalion of Devonshire Regiment, and it was here that at the outbreak of war David enlisted in the British Army. His potential was soon realised and he was commissioned as a second lieutenant in September 1939. John, meanwhile, was living in India and was commissioned into an Indian Army regiment, the 2nd Battalion, the 1st Punjab Regiment. David was sent as a part of a draft from the United Kingdom to India in 1942, and this allowed the two brothers to meet up. They spent a period of leave in Kashmir, and they spent their time very happily together, riding through the hills or playing golf. I'm not sure how well they did, but that's what they were doing. John was killed on Thursday the 18th of February 1943 while commanding B Company of the regiment during a battle at a place called Dombike in Burma. He was 25 years of age when he died. David then asked to be posted to the same battalion in the same regiment as John and joined the 2nd Battalion, the 1st Punjab Regiment. In January 1944, the battalion was deployed to the Arakan region of Burma, and this is where his gallantry was recognised by the award of the Military Cross. The citation reads: on the 16th of February 1944, Major Walker was commanding C Company in a position in the Arakan. Observing enemy movement on a feature, he sent out a fighting patrol to capture or annihilate the enemy. The fighting patrol attacked and drove the enemy off the feature, inflicting many casualties and capturing vast quantities of valuable documents. Suddenly another party of enemy, 20 to 25 strong, appeared and got in behind the fighting patrol. Major Walker, observing this cut-off attempt of the enemy, brought 3-inch mortar fire to bear on them immediately with excellent effect, and put his only reserve of 2 sections to annihilate them as they tried to escape from the mortar fire. While this successful fight was being waged, 3 Japanese infiltrated onto the company position, but were expeditiously dealt with by Major Walker himself and a handful of men left with him after this hectic engagement. In this very successful action, 15 to 20 casualties were inflicted on the enemy, and most valuable documents, including 40 diaries and 7 mule loads of equipment, were brought back. The success of this operation was entirely due to the coolness, initiative and offensive spirit of Major Walker in making full use of the gallant men and weapons under his command. The award of the Military Cross was published in the London Gazette on the 26th of June 1944, by which time the recipient was already dead. In April 1944, the Japanese attacked India and made for a town called Imphal. Major Walker's battalion was moved to Imphal. They were placed on a hill, and the Japanese attacked relentlessly all night. The Punjabis resisted stoutly, with fierce and brutal hand-to-hand fighting at various times through the night. Major David Walker met his death shortly after midnight in the early hours of the 27th of April while organising the defence of the hill. He was 23 years of age. Time and time again the Japanese were driven off, only to persist and attack again. By daybreak only 6 men were left standing. The tenacious defence of the company led by Major Walker no doubt saved the rest of the battalion from annihilation. All the names in this war memorial represent real people whose families lived in this town. Only 70 years ago they walked the same streets as you do today. To me, they are all ordinary men who lived extraordinary lives, and their sacrifice on behalf of all of us should not be forgotten. Thank you.